And the Senate Speaker, Ekwe Ethuro, is this morning expected to address the East African Legislative Assembly as the MPs to the regional parliament raise concerns of underfunding. The 5 EAC partner states owe the EALA 3.3 billion shillings, a situation which Speaker Daniel Kidega says has affected operations. The report on the status of contribution says Burundi has the highest debt of 1.14 billion shillings, which has piled up since 2015. Uganda owes the Assembly the least with 94.1 million shillings arrears, while Kenya, Rwanda and Tanzania have arrears of 612.3 million shillings and 649 million shillings respectively. All right, so now we want to speak to my colleague, Patrick Amimo. He's joining us from our City Centre studio to talk to us about this address. Thank you so much, Patrick, for joining us on News Centre this morning. First things first, apart from underfunding, what else is likely to take centre stage in the discussions today?
Thank you, Betty. Indeed, this particular session today, on the 29th, was to be addressed by President Uhuru Kenyatta according to the itinerary. But it so appears that the president has given a lot of prominence to his political rallies in central Kenya, where he's decided to address rallies in Murang'a County, which, as media reports have indicated, there is a feeling of apathy in that region. I think that's why the president has decided to concentrate his efforts in that area as we head to the general election. But today's session was specifically to be addressed by him as the President of the Republic of Kenya, and also to assure members of the East African Legislative Body that surely governments are committed to their cause. But instead, the President has decided to delegate that authority, that address that he was to make, that official address he was to make before the East African Parliament to the Speaker of the Senate, Ekwe Ethuro. So that event will happen at 11. It had been slated for 10, but now it's been pushed to 11 this morning. That's when we expect Ethuro to deliver the speech by the president on what maybe if he expects of the East African Legislative Assembly. Remember, they've been here since last week, Monday, on November 25th or November 21st, and the session, this is the 5th session of the 3rd meeting, and it was to end on, it's ending tomorrow, that is on Wednesday, 30th. So that's why they had put it slated in a manner that today they have the president address them, but unfortunately maybe they'll not have that opportunity. Instead, the president's word will be delivered to them by the Speaker, Honorable Ekwe Ethuro. The other matter that maybe the members did discuss while in Nairobi was also to adopt a report on audit and risk management, which had been canvassed by one of the committees, and members also had opportunity to discuss to have a debate on the East African Community Gender Equality and Development Bill 2016. Right. Remember, matters gender are so prime in the region, and it's a matter that even in the Kenyan Parliament has been debating about, but it's not been possible to have at least a gender or an affirmative action bill in place even 5 years after the 2010 Constitution did mandate members to do so.
Right. Right, Patrick. Now, the question that, Kenyans have on their minds, like I read there, we have we owe EALA about 600 million shillings as Kenya. But I mean, looking back, what can Kenyans, say they have gotten from, EALA? What have we gotten from them, even as we owe them this amounts of money?
Indeed, the issue of funding is of great concern because this is a body, it legislates for the region. And remember, when we are going to integrate the region, it's these members of parliament at the East African Parliament or Legislative Assembly who will ensure that we have laws, harmonized laws in place that will ensure that the East African community becomes a reality. And there's matters to do with political integration. There is matters to do with economic integration. There is things to do with cross-border trade where we want to see zero tariffs implemented, and the only people or body mandated to do this is the East African Legislative Assembly.
Right.
So it must be funded, and that's why members have expressed concern with the lethargic response from the political leadership, because it's the head of states from the various East African countries who should ensure that the body is well funded, and also so that wananchi get to know really the work and role of this particular parliament. So they've already given at least they've given a petition. They've petitioned the heads of state from the East African region to ensure that they adopt a report by the ministerial committee which said that the funding, they should ensure that they clear their debts by December this year, so that when we begin the next year, we are beginning on a clean slate, because this particular parliament this particular parliament of the East African Legislative Assembly will end its term in June next year.
All right, thank you so much, Patrick Amimo there, of course, updating us on that address. Like I mentioned before, the Senate Speaker, Ekwe Ethuro, is going to be addressing the East African Legislative Assembly. Quite a number of